Welcome to a summer edition of Dub Nation, the official show of the Utah Warriors of Major League Rugby. I am Jarom Jordan. He is Banksy. On today's show, a little off-season dish, Team Banquet Awards. Who won what from the banquet? It was fun, good food, good time. It was awesome. MLR playoffs going on right now. Who advanced? What are the matchups this weekend? Who does Banksy have still winning this thing? We'll see. What's the off-season calendar look like? There's a lot going on, as we mentioned, including the premier college rugby all-star game of the offseason coming up from Harriman, which is exciting, and Banksy's rugby rant. That is all coming up. Okay, so last Thursday, June 22nd, the team gathered at the Loveland Living Planet Aquarium in Draper to celebrate the season. It was fun. We were the MCs, Banksy. The players voted on awards, and here they are. We start with Newcomer of the Year, Joel Hodgson. What didn't this guy do? In breaking down some of his numbers, Banksy, I was a little surprised even at how good he was this year. He was awesome.
He was everything that Dub Nation could have hoped and dreamed for in a 10 coming in. You know, he had the resume with all of his premiership experience, but once he figured out first who this team was and how he fit into that team, there's still a very high ceiling for what this guy can do. And it's scary because he literally did everything.
So much experience. We thought he'd be good, but he was probably better than we thought.
He can do it all from anywhere on the field.
Yes, second most points in the league. He led MLR in penalty goals made and attempted, minutes played, kicking meters, and oh, by the way, had 5 tries, tied for third on the team. He was fantastic. Not to mention, this guy's about the community. He helped coach the Utah Valley rugby team.
I mean, talk about somebody that represents the core values of this club, to be able to step in at a university level program and take the helm, to spend time with his family, to be that leader on the field, to make some of the incredible plays that he made. It's hard to say that he was unheralded, but when you've got guys like Joe Mano and Mika Kruse and Tyler Fisher and Calvin Whiting and Logan Tongo and all of these incredible playmakers around you who shine, they shine because Joel Hodgson gets the ball in their hands.
Well-deserved Newcomer of the Year. Okay, Pathway Player of the Year. This is something that the Warriors do very well at. They develop pathway players who go from who is that guy to try-scoring machines, and Jesse Hamilton won, and it was well-deserved. We saw him in one game, and it was awesome against New York. He led the team with 15 tackles and scored the game-sealing try.
And he was everywhere, showed his good hands. There's the old saying that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and Jesse Hamilton's got talent and hard work. All he wanted to do was be around this team and learn and grow and hustle, and he was rewarded with his first cap for it, an incredible performance, and hopefully the beginning of a very long career in the red and black.
His family was in town for the New York game, so they went to Redemption's Bar and Grill and watched with the away game party there, and man, they went crazy, we're told, which was super cool.
Remember too, he got the call on Friday afternoon that he was going to be making the trip. It's not like He had all weekend training to prepare. So in that next man up Warriors mentality, Jesse's been there all year long pushing these guys, and he was that next guy ready to go and just jumped on the plane and fit right in.
Hey, replace Joe Mano, will you? He did! He did a great job for anybody, let alone first cap guy. That was awesome. Okay, Guerrilla Squad Player of the Year. Yuri Van Buren, who we affectionately call Yuri Van Bieber.
Yuri Van Bieber, Yuri with the good hair, whatever you want to call him, the man's an absolute unit, played a lot of time at number 8 over the last couple of seasons, and with the emergence of some other players, stepped into that support role, and all he did was continue to excel in first and second ruck arrivals, team points, everything that he does. Every time Yuri's on the field, the team gets better, and so it was great to see, and some hard-earned minutes for Yuri, and made a difference for the Waz this season.
Guerrilla Squad, of course, in reference to the bench. That's what they call themselves, and so we give them that nickname. He was second on the team in first and second arrivals, and this for a guy who came off the bench quite a bit, scored a try in the season finale, which was awesome. And it's fun, preparing for games, Banksy, and looking at the 8 on the bench and going, oh, that's loaded. 6 of the 8 almost every week for the Warriors were they've started games, or they could start, which was super exciting. Okay, Forward of the Year. This guy's won it 2 years in a row now. He is in the USA pool of players in August for a couple of test matches in Europe. Thomas Tuivau continues to play great.
Mr. Run Straight himself, and not a better deserving guy. All he does is, let his shoulders do the talking, as Coops likes to say. He puts the big hits on people. He runs downhill. He works hard. And last year, he earned Forward of the Year for his versatility, playing 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 during the season. And this year, getting a lot of minutes in that number 8 spot and just being so brutal and devastating for opposition. Love to see it from Tommy Tuivasa.
170 tackles, second on the team to Lance Williams. Not bad. Okay, back of the year. Caleb MAKENE is as sure a thing as any player on this team, man. He controlled things. Cliven Lopser got hurt, had to play a fullback, and frankly, he was one of the best fullbacks in the league.
Could easily be the best fullback in all of Major League Rugby right now with the way that he's playing. And it's not just the form that he's on, it's that he continues to improve the way he sees the game, the way he facilitates players around him, and the way he continues to learn about how the rugby is developing as he goes through the season. It's just incredible to watch him continue to get better and better and better, if that's possible for a player of his caliber.
5 tries, tied for third on the team. 5 of 9 conversions, 3 of 4 penalty goals. Led MLR in meters run. Led the league. Third in meters gained in clean breaks. He and Joe Mano with the deadly combination there. 6th in offloads in the league. Led the team in carries. Caleb MAKENE, back of the year. Okay, Heart of the Warrior Award. This is an emotional award that went to John DUPREE, who played in 3 games, only played 37 minutes, but he has embodied the Warrior way this year.
If you want to put like a face on what all of the core values of the Warriors franchise represent, this year it is absolutely John DUPREE and what he means to this team, the character that he is, the kind of rallying point. The thing I love about John DUPREE is John is never the center of attention, but John is always the center of activity. People want to be around a player and a person like John DUPREE, and it shows. And whether it's the first team or whether it's the selects, wherever John's at, there's always a crowd and there's always smiles, and he's such a positive energy guy who's overcome a lot to be where he is.
He debuted 2 years to the day his best friend died, who had made him promise that he would play rugby as a professional. That is an unbelievable story. A real emotional thing for him and his family and this team. That was pretty cool, man. Okay, the Heart of the Warrior Award, John DUPREE, the Warriors Way Trophy. This goes to the first guy to get 75 caps in Major League Rugby history, Angus McClellan, who delivered an emotional speech in person last Thursday.
And it was great to see from Gus, because usually he's just that typical salty old veteran forward that nothing ever impresses and nothing's ever good enough. To see him really back the quality and camaraderie that he has in that locker room and across the organization was so fantastic. And a guy who's stepped up at every aspect for the organization. Back when the boys were eating bologna sandwiches in between trainings and peanut butter and jelly on road trips, to now being the first player in MLR history to hit 75 caps. He's just an absolute pillar of this club.
He said in his speech, "I wasn't going to keep playing after I had my first child unless it was fun." And he said, "This is the most fun I've ever had." He loves the culture. He loves the team, loves the community. So good to have Gus McClellan on the squad. And to have Gus as a guy that's mostly coming off the bench is unbelievable, because he had his run with USA. Rarely do you get kind of a second tour later, like years later. Calvin Whiting did that last year. Angus McClellan did it last year, and he's again in the pool this year. Like, he's still got it, Banksy.
And a return to form for him, really. And I think that speaks to how much fun he is, both in the locker room once you get to know him and his personality, and on the field, how much fun it is to play with a guy who is as first big and physically strong as he is, but's also so intelligent and technically good at what he does.
A year and a half ago, the Player of the Year award winner tore his ACL, went on to score 8 tries in the last 8 games, which got us really excited for this season. And then all Joe Mano did was score 14 tries to tie for the lead in MLR with Paulo Balicana of New England. Single season MLR record, 14 tries. Utah Warriors record, MLR meters gained and clean breaks leader, and 10th in points on tries alone. Joe Mano, undoubtedly the Player of the Year.
And one of the most humble kids you'll ever meet. It was great to meet with his family who were visiting from Samoa and get to meet some of the people that helped build him into the man he is. Just a put God and his teammates first kind of guy. And he's so unassuming when you stand next to him. in a banquet room or in a public function or event. And then you see him literally turn guys inside out, and not just turn guys inside out. We're talking about guys like Nate Augsburger and Sam Windsor, veteran quality players, and they are left guessing at where Joe Mano is going. Such a special talent, and we're really lucky to have him with the Warriors.
He's going to get a shot with USA this year, and I would love to see Joe Mano wearing 11 as the left winger for the United States of America against Stade Toulousain on September 17th in Sandy. I think that'd be a real special moment. I feel like it's going to happen, and it's going to be cool. So that wraps up the player-voted awards, and it was cool to see all those guys hang out together, interact for one last time. A few guys had gone home already, but as we said at the banquet, Banksy, next year we're gonna have this banquet 3 weeks later, hopefully celebrating an MLR title. Let's go.
It'll be exciting to see where these Warriors go in 2024 and beyond. And you can get your first peek to see who could be joining them with the Collegiate Rugby Shield coming up July 13th at Zions Bank Stadium. The future of professional rugby in North America, as collegiate players from all over show up to showcase their talents and abilities before the MLR draft. You could see some of these faces in the red and black, so make sure you get your seats. It will be broadcast nationally, so you may get your face on television, as well as enjoy a little bonus rugby for the year. Collegiate Rugby Shield, July 13th. Go to warriorsrugby.com now and get your tickets and info.
I'm stoked. We're both involved in this again. It'll be on FS1. I'll call the game. You'll sideline the game. It's going to be a ton of fun. And we got some local representation with BYU players, a Utah Valley player, a former Selects player, guys from all over the country. It's going to be awesome. Coming up July 13th. Okay, the MLR playoffs. Gosh, I wish we were talking about Utah in it, but we are not. Okay, the Eliminator round, as they call it, the 2 versus 3 seeds. Seattle hosted Houston and won 37-26. And then DC, the 3 seed, went on the road to 2 seed New York and won 37-33. You had to score 37 exactly to win. What did you think of these two matches, Banks?
I saw exactly what I thought I would see out of Seattle with the return of Rickard Hadding. The big physical South African led the charge for his team into the playoffs. Everything that I thought it would be. For DC, I think they kind of beat New York at their own game. It was the counterattack and the clinical, almost cynical way that they punished New York for their mistakes, especially right at the end to score that dagger with New York on the march down the field, and then the quick turnover and the try for DC. Their phrase right now is, why not us? Think about this. If DC wins the MLR Shield, they will have gone through the defending MLR champion. They will have gone through the number 1 seed in the East, and they either have to play 3-time MLR champion Seattle or the team with the best record ever in Major League Rugby history in San Diego. Why not us? I'm rooting for the underdog. Let's go, DC.
Okay. The voice from our nation's capital on a tear. You can watch these coming up this weekend. Saturday, you got the Eastern Conference Final, New England hosting DC. That's a battle of patriotism right there as we approach the 4th of July. And then on Sunday, I got the Western Conference Final, San Diego hosting Seattle. These are 2 epic matches. And then, of course, July 8th, you have the MLR Championship featuring Dropkick Murphys and DJ Diesel, a.k.a. Shaq, in Chicago, Illinois, home of the Hounds, hosting the title game. So are you still in on – did you have San Diego? I'm trying to remember. Or New England.
I said San Diego would beat New England in the final to win it all, but you know what? I don't even care anymore. The experts know nothing. It's all about the 80 minutes on game day and who fronts up. Let's root for the underdog, baby. We got a former Utah guy in Threaten Palamo playing in the midfield. We've got a connection to the boys. I think Danny Tusitala plays very entertaining rugby. I think that could be fantastic for the league, for that team, and for everyone involved if DC makes that kind of Cinderella run.
I think I had New England winning it, but yeah, in the end, not too concerned about it. Just want some great rugby. Just want it to come down to the wire like it has a couple of times. That'd be fun, though.
You want great rugby? Here's a game you need to put on your calendar. How about the USA Eagles versus Stade Toulousain coming to town September 17th at America First Field? This is nothing but the most decorated franchise in all of world rugby, fresh off of the French Premiership win in Toulouse, coming to town to play the USA men's national team. There are 6 Warriors players who are available and eligible on that roster for that game, and you can get great seats at an incredible price. So let's pack the house and fill the stadium and show French rugby just how powerful rugby in North America can be. Make sure you join us for for the USA versus Stade Toulousain.
That's a Sunday game. It's going to be awesome in the beginning of the college football season here locally. It's going to be great. 22nd French Cup for them. I mean, they are just dominant in Pro 14 there, which is awesome. Okay, the off-season calendar looks like this. We mentioned it, but Collegiate Rugby Shield coming up July 13th. Get your tickets or watch it on FS1. It's going to be fun. The week of July 18th, the all MLR teams will be announced. Joe Mano certainly will be on that first team. It's whether he gets anything more than that. Like, could he be the league MVP? We'll see who else is in the mix there. I imagine there'll be a couple of Warriors. Last year was only Lance Williams on the first team and nobody else on anything. I think there'll be a few Warriors. I think Joe HODGSON's going to be in there somewhere. Not to mention, maybe a Thomas Tuivau or somebody else. August 17th, MLR draft on FS2. We'll see what kind of coverage we have with that one. We had a fun time last year doing a live show that day. And then, as you mentioned, September 17th, Toulouse coming to town to take on the Eagles. So it's a busy and fun off season. Of course, we'll get you all the news and notes starting next week. Starting today, will be every 2 weeks in the off season. Banksy needs his rest every other week. So do I. And then we'll get back into the in-season weekly stuff in February. But I'm excited about it. Not to mention, this isn't the only product you can consume from the Utah Warriors now. You've got another show, Banksy.
There's so many great things happening, and founder and president of the Utah Warriors, Kimball Kerr, approached me about doing a Utah-built podcast. And this is something that started as kind of a mantra for the team about being built here in Utah and all the character traits that are involved with that. And now it's grown into celebrating the people, personalities, businesses, and brands that are uniquely Utah built, whether they were founded here or whether they've adopted Utah as their home. We've had incredible conversations with guys like John Kimball from Real Salt Lake. We've got incredible conversations still to come from many more high-profile personalities. Get it wherever you get your podcasts. Check out the Utah Built podcast.
It's a great podcast. Check it out. Okay, it's time for Banksy's Rugby Rant.
If you want to see rugby continue to grow in North America, you need to support rugby wherever it is in North America. We have one of the best things in all of Major League sports anywhere with Zions Bank Stadium and the fan experience. But I'm talking about making the trip to Chicago for the MLR final. I'm talking about PR7s and supporting rugby at that level. I'm talking about going to your local club games. I'm talking about supporting women's matches, getting your youth involved. Support rugby wherever you see it. Even if it's a bunch of guys throwing the ball around in the park playing some touch and you see them, go have a run and get to know your local rugby community. The more that we build rugby at the grassroots level, at the community level, the more we rise at the national and international level, with the World Cup just 8 years away. Oh, and did we mention again a little game coming up in September that you could attend and be part of local rugby here with the USA Eagles and Stade Toulousain? So many chances to get out, see, and support rugby here in North America. Get more of it.
Hey, we're like Zion going on this show today. We just come in final 20 and just get stuff done. That's a sub 20 show for us. Let's go. Hey, that'll do it for us. Like and share this episode of Dub Nation. Follow the Utah Warriors on social media. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks, as we mentioned. Every other Wednesday here on the Utah Warriors social media channels. Today's show was produced by Mason Benson. For Banksy, I'm Jarom. Go Warriors.